Alright, so let's talk about the smart keyboard on the iPad Pro 10.5 inch versus the keyboard on a MacBook Pro 2015 15 inch. So basically, people have been asking, how does the Apple Smart Keyboard compare to a regular keyboard? And I'm just going to give you a few demonstrations and give you some of my thoughts and tell you exactly how I feel this 10.5 version of the Apple Smart Keyboard compares to a full-size keyboard that you would find on a MacBook Pro. And before we get started, I have to tell you that I am very picky when it comes to keyboards. I can't have the keyboard be too cramped. So keep that in mind as I'm giving this review, because I think it'll put some of the things I'm about to say in perspective. So let's just look at the Apple Smart Keyboard. You can see it here. It's not, it's obviously not as large as something you would see here on the MacBook Pro. This keyboard is definitely a lot smaller. There's also a lot less travel. So like when you push down the keys, it kind of clacks. There's not that much depth to it compared to something you would see on a regular laptop like the MacBook. And you can definitely, even though this is the 2015 edition, I honestly do think that this version of the MacBook keyboard is probably one of the lesser versions. It's a little bit inferior, I feel, to the newer butterfly mechanisms they have on the new MacBook Pros, and it's also worse than the keyboard that they had originally in the 2012 MacBook Pro that I had. So it's kind of in the middle between the two, and I think that's what kind of makes it not that great, but it's still a fine keyboard. You can still type pretty nicely on this, and it feels great. And it's a pretty decent keyboard. So let's talk about the size of the Apple Smart Keyboard. So first of all, the keyboard folds like this. So you can have it like this. You push this up, you close it, and it becomes a cover. So in terms of design, before we talk about size, the Smart Keyboard is fantastic. It fits really great on the iPad Pro, and it's the fact that it makes the iPad so compact and portable is the only reason why I chose it over like a third-party keyboard such as like a Logitech Slim Combo or something like that. It's really the portability that I was trying to go for with my iPad, and the fact that it folds so nicely, it's so thin, and it's really light. It really was a huge selling factor for me, and that's why I chose this keyboard. And I think I don't know if it necessarily justifies the price of $169, but it definitely I think is worth more than some of the other keyboards, third-party keyboards out there. That's just in my opinion, because it suits my needs perfectly. The other keyboards I'm sure are great, and they offer a lot more impressive features, but in terms of what I need, this was definitely exactly what I was looking for. Now, the size of the keyboard, now you can see the keyboard isn't very big at all. And actually, what I do have, I have a keyboard, I have the wireless keyboard, the Magic Keyboard from Apple, the first edition, right here. So this is the Magic Keyboard 1, I guess, from Apple. It's the wireless Bluetooth keyboard, and it doesn't have the lightning connector for charging. That's the Magic Keyboard 2, I believe. But I just have the first one, because the second one hadn't come out when I purchased this. And just for reference, you can see the difference in the size between the two keyboards. So here is the Smart Keyboard, and here is the Magic Keyboard from Apple. So it really is a lot smaller. Like, look at this. You can see there's not as much spacing between the keys on the Smart Keyboard compared to the Magic Keyboard. And you can even look at the keys are even bigger on the Magic Keyboard. I mean, it is a little bit unfair to look at the size, because there's this huge lip at the top, or chin, or whatever you want to call it, at the top of the Magic Keyboard. So it does make it a little bit bigger. And then there's these, a little bit of aluminum on the side that is just taking up extra space. But in general, you can definitely tell that this keyboard is definitely smaller than the Magic Keyboard. And this should be the same size that you would find on the MacBook Pro. So this is the standard we're going to go with for now. Now let's look at one more keyboard that I have. This next keyboard is an Amazon Basics Bluetooth wireless keyboard. It's also really nice. It's really cheap. I don't remember how cheap it was, but it was a great price. an amazing external Bluetooth keyboard. It does have kind of a forehead up here, or chin, whatever it's called. It does have a little bit of that up here going on, but we can also compare these two. And this is something, this is more along the lines of what the Smart Keyboard looks like. If you look at size-wise, and just kind of, you can kind of see how they compare a little bit. The Amazon Basics one is a little bit wider, but the keys, I feel a little bit better to me on the Smart Keyboard compared to this one. And I don't know why, but this one felt a little bit more cramped when I type on it. Like, I hit the buttons a lot sooner compared to the Smart Keyboard. This one felt a lot, this felt a lot more spread out, which is weird because if you just look at the width, I haven't compared like the actual key spacings or anything, but if you just look at the width, the Amazon Basics keyboard is wider. But I guess I can point out, you have like a full-size backspace, enter, and shift, which is something that you have, you know, kind of smaller versions of those here. So those are just kind of how this keyboard looks like in terms of size. So like I said, I've tried the Amazon Basics keyboard and I really liked it. It was a really nice keyboard, but the Smart Keyboard definitely impresses me a lot more. And it's just a lot more comfortable. It's a nicer typing experience, and the keys, they have like a little bit more, I don't know what the technical term is, but it clicks a little bit more when you type them. I'm not talking about travel necessarily, but just the tactile response you get from clicking the keys. I guess that is travel. But these keys on the Amazon keyboard at least feel a little bit mushier. I don't know if you can hear that, so let's listen to this. So it's like a little bit of a softer touch, but when you touch this one, it's like a louder clack. And for a lot of people, that could be kind of annoying, because if you're typing, especially when you're typing really fast, as I'll show in a second, it'll clack a lot. I personally like that. I know it could be annoying if you're taking notes during lecture, but I like the tactile response a lot better. That's something you would find on the Amazon keyboard. But that's not why we're here. We're here to check out how it compares to something you're probably using right now, which is a full-size keyboard. And in this case, I'm just obviously doing the Apple one. But this one also has that same amount of clickiness. Again, I'm not sure if it's exactly travel, but it feels like it could be. This has more travel than the Smart Keyboard for sure, this one. And this is definitely my favorite typing experience, or the better typing experience in my opinion. But that is not to say that the Apple keyboard, especially for the 10.5 inch, considering its size, it's actually a phenomenal keyboard in my opinion. And to show how good it is, I'm actually going to do a typing test right now. So I'm going to do a speed test and accuracy test on the 10.5 inch keyboard, and then I'm also going to do it on the 15-inch MacBook Pro that I have from 2015. So let's actually just start with the MacBook Pro first, since this is gonna set the base, the standard for what the iPad, the Apple Smart Keyboard should live up to. So let me just pull this up right here. Short typing test. Okay, so I'm just gonna be using speed typing online, I suppose is what it's called. And it's going to be 1 minute long. I won't show you the whole minute. So I'll start a little bit and then I'll jump cut it, so you can, at the end, see my accuracy and my words per minute. Okay, so in the end, I kind of started messing up a little bit towards the end, but I got 97 words per minute and 95.8% accuracy. Now, I don't know how accurate this speed is. I felt like I was going a little bit slower than 97, but you know, I guess it's close enough. So I'm going to be using the same typing test on both, so we can just, you know, it's all relative anyway. So this is 97 words per minute, 95.8% accuracy. This wasn't my best typing that I've done before. I did mess up a little bit more than usual in this case, but that's okay. I think it's fine. Now, this obviously isn't going to be a perfect comparison either, because my hands obviously are going to be a little bit more tired after typing on this one first compared to the Smart Keyboard. So if my accuracy decreases a little bit or my speed decreases, you know, there's little factors like that will probably would change the results a little bit. But let's just look at the Smart Keyboard now and see how this fares. Okay, so this one I got 80 words per minute and 94% accuracy. And again, I kind of started slowing down towards the end there, so I'm not sure how accurate this is. But in my opinion, the accuracy at least, right, is pretty similar. I got 94% here, and I got 95 or 96% on the Mac. The speed is, I think, is definitely what takes a bigger turn. So you get 80 words. I got 80 words per minute here, compared to 97 words per minute on the MacBook Pro. And I didn't even try it with the keyboard I like the best, which is this one, because I don't use this one more. I use the actual keyboard on the laptop more often than I use the external one. So that's why I chose to just use the one built into the MacBook Pro. But in my opinion, 17 word per minute drop isn't terrible. And the reason why I say this is because I'm not using this iPad to replace my laptop, right? I'm not using this to type all my essays, to do all my long form written work. It's just a note-taking device primarily on the go. I'm just using this stuff where I need to take quick notes. I need to do, maybe I can revise my essays on the go here if I need to, that kind of stuff. And I think that's completely fine. Given the fact that this is, not a full-sized keyboard, and that it's so thin and has so little travel in comparison to the other keyboards that we're probably used to, I think that the Smart Keyboard holds up really well, especially for my needs. So that kind of wraps up, I think, the test. In the end, would I recommend the Smart Keyboard? Definitely. And I would definitely recommend it if you're taking your iPad Pro on the go. But I would not recommend the Smart Keyboard if you are really, really, even though I don't recommend you do this, but you are really adamant about trying to have your iPad replace your laptop. I don't think it's a good idea, personally. I don't think we're ready for that quite yet. We're getting close, but we're not quite ready for tablets replacing our laptops, in my opinion, especially if you're a college student or a high school student. I don't think you should go there. But if you want to get as close to that as possible, and you would be taking your iPad with you everywhere and using it on your desk, then maybe I would suggest using a keyboard that offers a more standard feel compared to the Smart Keyboard, mainly because it's going to be your main device. So if it's your main device, you want it to feel as comfortable as possible. As a secondary device, as a portable device, as a note-taking device, this does an incredible job, in my opinion. And even if you don't get another keyboard, you could easily use this as a main keyboard. At first, I wasn't sure it would be possible, but especially if you have the 12.9-inch iPad, and that keyboard is even better because it's bigger and it allows for more room for your hand to move around. So that's it. That's all I had to say about the Apple Smart Keyboard. I hope this was really helpful and kind of informs you on what purchase you should make for your iPad Pro. That's about it. I'm going to leave you guys be and not waste any of your time, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks.